On a mountain road, James is speeding like he has nothing to lose, and for a second he gets distracted, almost slamming into a truck. So he swerves hard and ends up running over a pile of suitcases instead. The owner, Mary, rushes to grab her things, and James tries to help, but they're too late. The bus leaves without her. She was supposed to go to the city, but now she has no choice except going back to her hometown, Silent Hill. Bro has a Ferrari with a V13 engine. He could easily catch the bus. Now watch what he does. So James offers to drive her there as an apology. Right then, the wind suddenly picks up, the sky darkens, and Mary calmly explains, "This is just a Silent Hill summer storm." For a moment, she looks like she's drowning underwater, and suddenly, James wakes up, not on the road, but inside a club, drunk, completely wasted. His phone keeps ringing, but he ignores it and keeps drinking until a waitress tells him it's time to leave. He stands up, bumps into her, and makes her drop the glasses, which instantly brings a bouncer over. Instead of leaving, James shoves him into a table, tries to grab his phone, but the bouncer grabs him from behind. So James headbutts him, only for two more guys to jump in and throw him out into a pile of trash. The phone rings again. This time he answers. It's his therapist, M, who's clearly disappointed, reminding him he shouldn't be drowning himself in guilt and telling him to go home and rest before tomorrow's appointment. Back in his apartment, James stares at a painting he made of Mary, and her face flashes in his mind, so he tries to drink again, but the bottle is empty. Frustrated, he throws it, and it rolls across the floor, stopping next to an envelope with his name on it. He opens it and freezes. It's from Mary. She says she knows it's been a long time since they broke up, but something has happened, and she needs him to come to their old home in Silent Hill. So that same night, in the middle of a storm, James drives straight toward Silent Hill. But when he reaches the mountain tunnel, it's closed. With no way through, he goes back, parks near a bus station, and decides to sleep. That night, his dreams are filled with memories. After that first meeting, he drove Mary home. They started dating, and he chose to stay in Silent Hill with her. Sometimes when they kissed, her nose would bleed onto his face, and eventually, they broke up. James left, went back to the city, and became an alcoholic. The next morning, with no other option, James decides to walk the rest of the way. As he moves through the forest, everything feels wrong. Thick fog covers the area, and ash slowly falls from the sky. Nearby, he meets a woman named Angela, who's struggling with heavy bags, and when he asks about the ash, she explains there was a massive fire that burned through the forest until rain finally stopped it. The floods contaminated the water, and people abandoned the town. But even after hearing all that, James keeps going, because he remembers something Mary once told him, that she was afraid her true nature would scare him away, and he promised he would always stay by her side. After a long walk, he finally reaches Silent Hill, but the town is completely empty, covered in fog, covered in ash. He shouts, no answer. Then suddenly, he hears music.
Someone there?
He follows it into a tunnel, where a radio is playing next to a blanket covering someone. When he tries to speak, he hears a noise behind him, and the radio cuts out. Then a man suddenly jumps out from the blanket and warns him that they're coming back, but refuses to explain anything. That's enough for James. He runs out of the tunnel. Right then, his phone rings again, M calling, but he ignores her when he notices a glowing sign above a nightclub. At the same time, back in the tunnel, a creature appears, a lying figure. Inside the nightclub, James remembers when Mary brought him here and introduced him to everyone. The whole town knew her because her father built it, but the memory is cut short when he hears the man screaming. James runs back, only to find the man's body dissolving on the ground. The radio bursts into static, and then he sees it, the creature approaching him. It opens its chest and sprays acid. James barely dodges, grabs a tool and throws it, bringing the creature down, but it escapes into the sewers. Then suddenly, the radio switches to an emergency broadcast telling everyone to evacuate, followed by a siren echoing through the entire town. And that's when everything changes. Darkness spreads across the streets, and more creatures appear. James grabs the radio and runs, dodging acid, dodging monsters, running non-stop, until he trips, falls hard, and watches rats scatter everywhere, only for disgusting creatures called creepers to crawl out and drag one of them away. One comes toward him, he crushes it instantly, but that was a mistake. Hundreds of them pour out, and now they're chasing him. He runs through alleys, past monsters, even watching the creepers tear one apart. He falls again, drops his weapon, but can't grab it because they swarm over it. So he keeps running until he reaches a fence, squeezes through a hole, and finally escapes. The creatures stop, watching him from the other side. Desperate, James runs into an apartment building and blocks the door. The creepers climb over the windows, but can't get inside. They just stare at him. As he looks around, for a second, he sees a bleeding woman behind him. But when he turns, she's gone. He shines his phone light toward the stairs and sees something disappear. For a moment, he thinks, it might be Mary, so he goes upstairs. But the path is blocked. He enters another apartment and finds a glowing TV and a box full of tapes. As he gets closer, he suddenly sees a vision of blood-covered hands touching a body. The sound in his head gets worse. The pain becomes unbearable. He calls M, saying his head is killing him. But before he can explain anything, his phone dies. Desperate, he runs to the balcony, feels the rain, and notices a silhouette above him. At the same time, M tries calling him again, then makes a call of her own, saying her patient has violated the procedure and needs to be checked. James climbs up to the next apartment, only to find the silhouette was just moths covering a mannequin. The dress reminds him of Mary. At the back, he finds a strange shrine filled with moths inside a plastic head, and that triggers another memory. One day, he came home and found Mary surrounded by strange people in the dark. They talked about love twisting the mind, but the moment they noticed him, they acted normal. Mary defended them, saying they were her only family, even though it clearly disturbed him. Back in the present, James finds a medical report, Mary's name on it, an asthma attack. Then he hears someone coughing. In the bathroom, he finds Eddie, sick and vomiting. Eddie says James is lucky, because everyone else got sick. Something happened in this town. Fire, poisoned water, people going insane, bleeding in the streets. And then, the monsters came. He even shows a rotting wound on his arm. Suddenly, they hear a baby crying. They follow the sound and find a girl named Laura hiding behind bars. James tries to help her, but before she can reach him, the radio starts screaming again. Something is coming. Eddie panics and runs. James stays, and then he sees it, Pyramid Head, dragging a massive sword. It reaches through the bars. James runs, and runs straight into another creature, a mannequin that suddenly transforms into a spider-like monster. It chases him. He barely escapes, hides in a closet, watching through a crack, as Pyramid Head enters and brutally kills the creature, then slowly walks toward the closet, opens it, looks directly at James, and for a second, he sees human eyes inside the helmet. Then suddenly, the siren goes off again. Everything stops. Hours later, James wakes up. The world looks normal. Angela is there. She tells him he can't save her, then collapses. James runs outside, where Laura appears again, holding a doll Mary gave her. And just like that, the truth starts getting closer. Now the world collapses completely. Reality breaks. Memories flood in. He sees everything clearly. Mary's name, her identity, and realizes Angela, Laura, Maria, they're all pieces of her, fragments of who she was. In the final moment, James reaches the truth. He sees Mary again, not as a monster, but as herself, dying, waiting. He remembers holding her and choosing to end her suffering. And now, he has to live with it. In the end, James takes her body, puts it in his car, and drives to a lake, believing they can finally be together, even in death. The car sinks into the water. Everything fades. But then, it resets. He's back on that road again. That same moment, the bus leaving, Mary standing there. And this time, instead of taking her to Silent Hill, he chooses differently. And that's the real ending. Not escape, not redemption, but being trapped in a loop of guilt he can never truly escape. I know it's a Mustang GT convertible, not a Ferrari. Calm down, car experts. Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this recap, hit like, subscribe, and don't miss the next story. Trust me, you won't see it coming. Thanks for watching.